Spike Lee is one of my favorite, if not my favorite, film directors, and he once again hits with another joint, but it's as good as some of his other joints. It's time to talk about it. What's going on, guys? It's Joshua, aka Feature Filmmaker 3940 Reviews, where it's on movies, film, and TV, and I'm here to give you guys my thoughts on The Five Bloods, which is the newest Spike Lee joint, who is directed, of course, by Spike Lee, and is written by him, Kevin Willmott, Denny Bilson, and Paul DeMeo, and it stars the likes of Delroy Lindo, Jonathan Majors, Clarke Peters, Norm Lewis, Isiah Whitlock Jr., Mélanie Thierry, Paul Walter Hauser from Richard Jewell, John Reno, Jasper I can't pronounce the name, Pääkkönen, and Chadwick Boseman. And before I get started into my review of The Five Bloods, in the comment section down below, what did you guys think of this movie? Do you like it? Do you not like it? Are you somewhere in the middle? What is your favorite Spike Lee joint? If you want to send money to my chime, or you want to send fan mail, you can DM me or email me privately, and you can do that as well, and I'll get back to you. With that being said, let's get into The Five Bloods. So The Five Bloods tells the story of four African American veterans in the battle forces of man and nature when they return to Vietnam, seeking the remains of their fallen squad leader and the gold fortune he helped them hide. When it comes to Five Bloods, I was excited for this, but yeah, when I found out that what Spike Lee was going to do with this movie, that the way he's using the aspect ratio and actual footage of real life events to tell the story of these four soldiers, and also because of the cast. You have Delroy Lindo, Chadwick Boseman, Mélanie Thierry, Paul Walter Hauser, who was great in I, Tonya and Richard Jewell, and you have Spike Lee writing and directing. So with that being said, this was going to be one of the best movies of the year. But I seen reviews of this movie, and there are two ways that this movie will go for you. You will either like this movie or you will not like this movie, because this is kind of a divisive movie right now. But this is one of the best movies of 2020 for a reason. Starting off right now with Spike Lee and his direction and writing. Despite the fact that he has three other people writing the script with him, I think this story is well told. I do think this story is well handled. The way he wants to use archival footage of real life events from the Vietnam War and in our history, I feel like he did that very well in terms of his writing. And the characters in this movie are really great too. You can tell that each of them are suffering through the events of war as they have to go back and you find the remains of their fallen squad leader and the fortune that they hidden together. I do like the fact that every one of these characters, you do get reason good development towards them, and that's what Spike Lee knows how to do in his writing and directing, is to give you great character development. And as far as his execution in the script goes, it is one of his best executed films. It's not his best movie. For me, his best movie is Inside Man and Jungle Fever. I do have a Spike Lee ranking in my letterbox, and I'll link that down below. But the way he chose to write and direct this movie, it's a pretty well written script. It's a pretty well executed story. Sure, this is a story that we've seen, but just the way he does it with this movie is very well handled. And I do like the way it is directed. It feels like Spike Lee, he's been around since forever. making movies, and his directing here is still strong. I do say his direction is amazing here. I do like how he directed this film. I do like what this movie was trying to do, and I do really like how it does all this, and the way the aspect ratios change throughout this movie. I thought that was a very nice, well done thing on his part, and I felt like that all the different aspect ratios to the anamorphic widescreen format to the full screen format that was used in The Lighthouse, and all of these historical events, the way that he handles it as far as cinematography wise, with his cinematographer of the movie, is really good. It's really good cinematography. It never feels overly dull, and I feel like that's what he excelled at the most. Also, the music by Terence Blanchard is really good, and the editing is pretty strong for the most part, which I'll get into that in my negatives. But I think technical aspects is directing, writing, music, and cinematography, and editing, and production design, costume design, and the way this movie looks is really well done. It's a very well done, executed film. I think Spike Lee, he knows how this movie works, and he does this a lot with his movies, so he does a good job. But the performances in this movie are really great. The performances in this movie are great from everyone. Delroy Lindo is easily the best part of this movie, and if he doesn't get nominated next year, well then the Oscars, bias. But because Delroy Lindo, his performance in this movie is really great. I think if he doesn't get nominated for Oscar, I think everyone is going to riot, because this is one of the best performances of 2020 up there. It doesn't match the performances of Elizabeth Moss or Ben Schwartz and Jim Carrey from Sonic the Hedgehog and The Invisible Man respectively, but it's definitely up there in the top favorite performances. Also, Jonathan Majors is really good, Clarke Peters, Lauren Lewis, Isiah Whitlock Jr. was really great, Mélanie Thierry, an actress I don't mind. John Reno is also really good. It's good to see him in the movie again. And also for a little bit, Chadwick Boseman, aka T'Challa himself, is in here for a little bit. Don't expect to see him in this movie a whole lot, but when he's in the movie, he does a great job. All the cast in this movie does a really great job. And that's all, once again, to Spike Lee's direction and his writing. And the way he likes to use his characters. As far as the way that the archival footage plays out in the movie is a very nice, subtle use of it. I do think that the way that Spike Lee is able to incorporate that in this movie is excellent. I think it's really excellent. It does take its time to do what it's supposed to do. It knows what it's trying to be. It's not trying to be nothing different. It's not trying to be anything that you did not pay money to go see. Yeah. I do think this is a really fun, entertaining movie for the most part. However, there are some problems. I don't really have too many problems. I do have a few complaints with this movie, and I will say right now, this movie's a little too long. I'm sorry. I don't complain about this with a lot of movies. There are a couple movies where I do end up ignoring it, but this movie is 2 hours and 34 minutes too long. I feel like there is at least 10 to 15 minutes you could easily cut out. I get that Spike Lee does this a lot with his movies, where he wants to draw it out so we can care in most movies. That's fine, and I don't mind a long movie. I didn't mind Avengers Endgame being 3 hours 2 minutes. Many of you people may think I have a problem with that, but on rewatch, I do still have a tiny bit problem with it. But Avengers Endgame, it felt like an epic film. So did The Irishman, even though that movie is long too. But there were some scenes in this movie that kind of dragged out for a little too long, and I was sitting there kind of bored in most parts. This is the reason why I have not watched a whole lot of Spike Lee's filmography, because he does this in every movie. But I don't mind him trying to say that prejudice is wrong or any of that. I don't mind that at all. But it does, in most of his movies, it does get to the point where it does become a little overbearing and a little too preachy and too beaten over the head. It's not as beaten over the head as it would be in stuff like Black Christmas, where man sucks, or Charlie's Angels 2019, where guys suck, or After, where you have to say that it's okay to romanticize abuse or take abuse from someone you love, or romanticize cheating. It's not anything like that. It's just, I get that he's trying to say that prejudice is wrong and tackle on racism, racial issues in his movies, but there are some cases where it does get a little too heavy-handed. At least the N-word is not said more than 189 times, because let's get it out of the way. I've said this before on my channel, I'll say it again, I really do hate the N-word. And as a guy of color, with everything that's going on right now, that word is a derogatory word. It will always be a derogatory word. But at least it's not oversaid here, as it would be in Quentin Tarantino movie. But it's just his style and Spike Lee's and Quentin Tarantino's style. They like to tackle on some pretty and sort of stuff, and I get that. But I just feel like if it was just a little calm in a couple of areas, and I feel like if there was 10 to 15 minutes shortened, then I feel like this movie would be a 10 out of 10. And also, like I said, I feel like Chadwick Boseman, he's great in the movie, but I feel like I wanted to see more of him with the rest of the cast in this movie. Because the acting's not bad from him. I just feel like he should have been in the movie a little more. And I get it, he was probably doing 21 Bridges while they were making this, but again, it's Chadwick Boseman, it's the child, so yeah. Real quickly, before I give you guys my final thoughts on The Five Bloods, be sure in the comment section down below, tell me how does this rank as far as your Spike Lee filmography goes. Do you like it? Do you hate it? Are you somewhere in the middle? Do you think it's overpraised? Do you think it's underpraised? Do you think it's one of the best movies of the year or one of the worst? Because this is a pretty divided movie. So with that being said, let's get into my final thoughts. And my social media links are in the description box down below. If you want to send money to my channel or send fan mail, you can DM me or email me privately, and you can message me there. And also be sure to hit that subscribe button and the bell to get notified when the videos up. If you like what you see, leave a like and comment, because unless you don't have the notification bell on, you're not going to get every update when I post or make a post in my community tab. Overall, The Five Bloods, I think this is a really great film. This is a really good movie. It's definitely one of the best of 2020 thus far. It is a really good movie. Spike Lee, he outdid himself again. I do like how he directs this movie. I do like how this movie is written. I do enjoy the character development, and the performances in this movie are great. The acting is really strong as well, and while I do feel like this movie should have been 10 to 15 minutes cut down, and while some of the racism subject matter can get a little bit heavy-handed in times, I would say this is a very important movie to watch, especially with what's going on now in the black community and out in the world today. This is a movie I think you should watch. It's not going to be for everybody, so you better know what you're getting yourself into when you watch this movie, because yeah, by any means necessary. By any means necessary, I'm giving this movie a Better Than Vampire Diaries. I want to give it a full Better Than Vampire Academy, but like I said, if Chadwick Boseman was in the movie a little more, if some of the racial stuff was toned down a little bit, and if this movie was at least cut down just a little bit, I would have given it a full Better Than Vampire Academy, or at least a normal seal of approval. With that being said, I did enjoy the movie overall, and be sure to hit the subscribe button, and be sure to be on the lookout for future videos coming soon. I do have reviews for Parasite, Onward, my review of Dune 1984, where I will be starting my reviews of the Dune movies leading up to Denis Villeneuve, first part of his two-part duology, and I'll see you guys later, by any means necessary. Sure enough, you did.